What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another game review. Today we are talking about Concord from Firewalk Studios and published by PlayStation on PlayStation and PC. Unfortunately, I think this game is going to be a failure, and today we're going to talk about why I think it's going to fail and why I think that's so unfortunate. As usual, we're going to go through our cons list, our so-so list, and then our pro list. Overall, I do think this is a very good game, and I do think it's a game worth playing, but as we talk about the cons, I'll tell you why people aren't really going to play it. So starting off with some basic cons before we get into why people aren't going to play it and why I think it's going to fail. Some things I didn't like about the game itself is that there's no firing range or tutorial. These kind of go hand in hand. A tutorial would be nice to kind of get the gist of how the game plays, although I think once you play a few games, it's not necessarily a huge deal, but it would be nice because so many games, especially when they're not an established series, do have tutorials on how to play their multiplayer. And then the other thing that goes hand in hand, that is no firing range, so you can't go practice abilities. Like if you go to Apex, you go to Overwatch, they are hero shooters. Now one's a BR and one's an arena shooter, but they're hero shooters and they have firing ranges where you can try out the different heroes or legends abilities, and then in Apex's case, the weapons as well. But a firing range is a pretty simple feature that a lot of FPS games have, and third-person shooters, but just shooters in general. A lot of them have firing ranges, so you can try out abilities, weapons, etc. And with this being a hero shooter and all of the heroes being unique, I do think a firing range would be a huge feature that Concord should add in their game. Now, this is a final open beta, and the game does come out in a month on August 23rd, I believe it is. August 23rd is correct. I have it up on my other monitor right there. And so it's probably too late for a firing range, which, since this game is going to fail, I doubt it's ever going to get a firing range. Another negative is there's no auto sprint. You have to click sprint every single time. Now, that's on controller. Maybe it's different on mouse and keyboard. But, like, there's no setting, just be auto sprint. So when you move forward, you're sprinting. And coming from playing COD and Apex where that is a thing, that's something that I'd like, so you don't have to always spam that sprint button, which does wear out controllers, create stick drift, etc. And it's just a basic feature so many games have, especially games with movement. And we'll talk more about the movement later, but this game has a lot of movement. Some people think it's slow, which you could put as a con. I didn't think it was too slow when you compare it to other games within the genre, but an auto sprint would help speed it up and be nice. Now, another thing is teammate footsteps. We'll talk about more footstep stuff in the pro section, but teammate footsteps sound almost the exact same, if not the exact same, as enemy footsteps, and that's an issue because we use footsteps in FPS games, especially ones that develop a comp scene, which I assume if this game succeeds, which it's not going to, I think that they would want a comp scene, and it's hard to have a comp scene if footsteps are indistinguishable from teams and enemies because people like footstep audio. Another big issue I ran into is team balancing. Every game was an ass-kicking, whether it was my team kicking the shit out of the other team or my team getting their ass handed to them, which also leads to people quitting. And something that I don't have under here, but it's kind of with team balancing, is when someone quits, it never searches for a new teammate, no matter how early or late. I understand if you're like more than halfway through a game, not bringing somebody into that game, because that's an issue that XDefiant has faced, Call of Duty has faced, Halo has faced, where you can get brought into games where it's not even worth bringing anybody into because it's just an absolute ass-kicking. And I definitely think that that is something that they need to work on, is team balancing and then searching for teammates. Because, hey, you might get somebody who's just cracked out of the game and brings that score back in more evenly, but the team balancing and the lack of teammates when people quit is a huge issue, which also makes this game hard to play. And finally, I have two reasons why I think this game would fail. The biggest one is that it is not free to play. It's not even 10 bucks. It's not 20 bucks. It's $40. And in a world when games are now $60 or $70, 40 is not a lot. But we're talking about Overwatch 2 is free, XDefiant is free, Marvel Rivals, which is coming out. I am in the beta for that this week, so expect a review at the end of this week or sometime next week on that. That's going to be free to play, and they make their money back on microtransactions. And we've seen that in the live service era that we're in now. Warzone's free, Apex is free, Fortnite is free, PUBG moved to free. And we're seeing more and more free games. Halo Infinite, when they came out, their multiplayer was free. And the companies try to make it back on microtransactions, but it helps boost your player base numbers in the beginning and helps keep the player base numbers high because anybody can jump in and try your game anytime they want. But when your game costs $40, and this is kind of an Overwatch clone, I mean, it really is an Overwatch clone, it's Overwatch inspired. 5v5, mostly objective game modes, and you have heroes. And I could just go play Overwatch 2, or I could wait for Marvel Rivals to come out, and I could just play Marvel Rivals to get this type of gameplay for free, and the $40 is going to hurt it. And then a less important factor of why I think this game will fail is that it's PC and PS5 only. I'm glad to see games move finally towards being only current gen and not servicing last gen, but it should be on Xbox as well. Now, this is published by PlayStation, and that's why it's not on Xbox. But by shrinking out a large chunk of the player base, and you're already shrinking the player base by not having last-gen consoles, but that's a whole different issue of why people aren't buying current-gen consoles. But by taking out one of the branches of current-gen and only having PC and PlayStation 5, you're shrinking your player base and connecting to the last point in a game that should be free-to-play because the world has moved to free-to-play and its competitors are free-to-play. By taking away a third-ish of gamers, then you are shrinking the player base even further, and it becomes an even bigger issue that it's not free to play. They should maybe at least do like you don't need PS Plus to play online, but PS Plus users get the game for free or something like that. They should find a way to make this game free or a lot cheaper. So that's kind of the cons, and why I think it's going to fail ends up really being down to no Xbox and being $40. But overall, I still think the game has good bones. But we're going to move on to the so-so stuff, and then we're going to move on to the pros, and the pros will be why I think it's unfortunate that this game's going to fail. So the so-so section isn't a super big deal. For some reason, I wrote not free under there. That's obviously also under the cons, but there's written guides in there, which is a nice feature, but which you would think should be in the pro. There's written guides for like all the characters, all the games, but it'd be nicer to just have like a tutorial mode or a firing range to try out the different characters' abilities, or short video guides or anything, because when you go to the guides in the game, I wish I could show you them. They're like long, multi-paragraph, a lot of text, and people just aren't going to want to read those, especially if you're trying to learn about every of the heroes, the free gunners as they're called in this game. You don't want to read essays about each free gunner and then essays about each game mode. It's just a lot to read. So it's nice that they have them, but the way that they have guides for the game isn't the optimal way that I think you should do it. Another so-so feature is if you're playing I forget the names of the mode now. There's a team deathmatch and a trophy hunt. It's called trophy hunt. That's like kill confirmed. The team deathmatch, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. While you're spectating, if you try to pull up the scoreboard closes when you have like 2 seconds and 1 second left, so you can view it for like 1 second, because by the time you spectate, there's only like 3 seconds left. Then another so-so is having to select a free gunner after every death. Now, you don't have to click on the free gunner. It will just put you right back on the same free gunner, but every single death, it brings you up to the free gunner select screen, and every single time you select one, whether it auto-selects for you when the time runs out or you actually click on it, you have to hear a voice line every time, which wouldn't be a big deal, except the voice lines are just one voice line for each free gunner. So if you are dying a bunch in a match, and you have to keep selecting it, every 30 seconds to a minute, you're hearing the same voice line over and over again. And some aren't as bad, some are really grating and annoying. And so it's really frustrating to have to be on that screen every time instead of just spectating, which leads into that scoreboard again, and then hearing that line over and over again. But it is a positive that it gives you the option to change your hero or free gunner every time, which is standard in Overwatch, Apex if you play the mixtape modes, etc. Now, that's a pretty short so-so list, and we're going to move on to the positives, which is, I think, the longest of the three lists I have between cons, so-so, and pros. And the pros, this is a long list of why I think it's unfortunate that this game will fail. First of all, the graphics look beautiful. The gameplay behind me is on medium graphics and pulled from a VOD and not directly recorded. And if you know anything about Twitch and making content with your Twitch VODs, when you download a VOD, the quality, always suffers of the video a little bit. And this game still looks beautiful, but if you watch my VODs itself, Twitch link down below, and you go look at the graphics, the game is graphically gorgeous. The maps are very detailed, the characters are detailed, the color palette's really nice. I am a big fan of how this game looks. Also, moving into other pros, the teammates' health bars you can see in the gameplay behind me are up top. It lists out all your teams and the free gunners, which is also very nice. So, you know, if you're thinking about switching the next life, you can see which ones are already taken. But the bigger thing is it shows the health under. So if you're playing a healing free gunner, you can see that one of my teammates needs health and you can go find them and heal them, which I think is really nice. Another nice feature is the customizable HUD size. Now, I have the default HUD on the gameplay behind me because I just tend to stick with default stuff a lot. But it's nice. You can shrink and enlarge in it as much as you want to make it more customizable to you, which I think is a very nice feature. Another pro that I have is the movement in this game. People complain the movement is slow, but almost every character has either some kind of double jump or triple jump. Every character has a dodge. Obviously, every character has a sprint. Some have a double dodge. Some dodges are harder to hit than others. And there's a lot of movement functionality within this game. Maybe it's not the fastest sprint speed or the fastest walk speed, especially if you're some of the larger characters or free gunners. But there is a lot of different options for moving around the map depending on who you are. There's one free gunner, Itzy, that I really like. And she even has like a teleportation ability. So there's a lot of movement built within. There's I think her name's Roka. There's a like rocket pack jet pack legend or free gunner, and she has a jetpack which adds into the movement. You have another one who I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but she's the one with the fire crossbow. She can like float / fly around. So there's a lot of options for movement, and different heroes move in different ways. And you know, I think there's a lot of unique movement within the game, which also adds a learning curve and skill floor / ceiling, depending on how you want to look at it. Being able to, one, use that movement, and two, fight that movement. Another pro I have is we have fun modes. The modes, they have a team deathmatch. They have a kill confirmed. They have a hard point, although not a hard point. They have a domination game type, although I don't like. You have to hold 2 out of the 3 points to get any points, and that should have been under my so-so. They have 2 different single life modes where they have an S&D type mode, and then they have like a hard point single life mode, which was interesting. So they got a lot of fun modes, and they already have a variety, and they're going to probably be adding modes if this game has a good lifespan. Then you add in fun gunplay. The gunplay is not overly visual recoil heavy like in Warzone has been in the last couple years. There's not a lot of recoil, so you know anybody can shoot these guns, and the guns just feel good and they feel fun and they're easy to use, which in a cartoony looking game that would probably welcome many different people, it's nice to not have overly complicated gunplay, because if you want that, go play something like Tarkov, right? And then we have fun maps. I think the map design's good. At the core, there are like 3-lane-ish with some extras on it. And like I said, they're really graphically beautiful. They have health recovery spots. They have like health on the map that respawns 20 seconds after someone uses it. There's levels to maps, but not like where you're in a big building and there's a big second floor and a big lower floor. There's just some lower and upper areas, and there's a lot of movement around the map. There's a lot of outplayability, and I thought the maps overall were designed really well. And finally, this reaches kind of back into my con list. I said we were talking more about footsteps. Although footsteps are hard to distinguish, the footstep volume felt very good, very consistent. The footsteps were loud. I never thought, wow, I didn't get footsteps on that person like I do so commonly in Apex and Call of Duty. So the footstep audio was pretty good. That's my list of pros. So to kind of sum things up, I think this is a beautiful game with great graphics, nice features in it, fun game modes, good gameplay, good variety of movement and movement abilities. Overall, I think it's a very fun game to play if you're able to play it. But I do think overall it's going to fail due to its current gen and PS5 exclusivity with PC and its $40 price tag. I really think this game would have been better off as a free-to-play and earning their money back as microtransactions, and I think it could be a worthy competitor to Overwatch. But Overwatch 2 is free, Marvel Rivals will be free, and those two will be more likely to compete than Concord will, and I think Concord will fall by the wayside and at most have a year lifespan unless they, don't sell a lot on day one, so they lower to $20, I think could even work, or even $10, but ultimately I would like to see a free-to-play and them making their money back on microtransactions. So I'm going to let the rest of the gameplay play out. There should only be a couple minutes left on it by the time I'm done with all this. But please let me know in the comments down below what you think of Concord. Did you get to play the beta? Did you not want to play the beta? Would you give this game a chance if it was free? Are you gonna if it's $40? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're scrolling down, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like game review content. Like I said, I'll have a Marvel Rival ones come up. And then any other PvP or PvPvE games that I plan on putting out reviews of in the future. So if you like that content, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And while you're scrolling down, Don't forget to check out the description for my Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and I should have my single-player gameplay channel down there as well. So check all that out if you do feel so inclined. But I will see you later. Have a nice day. Bye.
Not bad.
Game's pretty fun.
Cover me. Gotta heal.
Gotta keep up. Watch out! Throwing here.
Patching up. Watch my back. I need to heal up.
Throwing a smoke screen. I need healing. Rookies.
Need to get this health.
Healing up. Watch my back. Not bad.
Was I out of nades? I might have been out of nades.
On my mark.
I think I was out of nades. I'm 9-2. I really can't complain. Oh, one of their teammates backed out. I mean, I don't blame them. Look at the score. It's 25-30.
Hurt bad. Help.
Almost there. Keep it up.
Danger here.
Two of their teammates quit.
Chill. I need to heal.
Come on, we only need one kill left. Somebody. Let's go.
Nice work.
Let's go. Kick the shit out of them. Holy shit.
That is gonna get us some attention. I see more jobs
Cooked that
in our
game.
future.
Ten and 2, baby. 10-2. That poor team.